And here we are again, episode 2 of Manor Lords. And we have just completed our saw pit, which will be crucially important for producing the planks that we will need in the future. All of them. And we have also completed our first well. So that people can get drinking water. They're already very thirsty. Get in line, please. And our village is slowly taking shape. Now, let's pause the time for a moment. It's quite running away quickly. We now are running into the first issue, which is typical for Manor Lords. As I've explained in the last episode, this is here an overview of our unassigned families. Unassigned families are the only ones able to actually build buildings that you want to have. Everyone else is busy doing something else. For example, we have here people collecting berries. We have people logging the trees. And we need also a family to be manning the saw pit. But we only have one left. What do? What you can do, number one, is you can take the person that is currently manning the storehouse for now out so that you have 2 families available, and then you can set them up in the saw pit right here. That is one thing you can do. What you have to keep in mind also is any log that you are producing that would now be available for building would otherwise be used now in the saw pit. So any log here will be moved over into the saw pit and will be turned into planks. So if you want to have a log for building, but you've turned it into a plank, well, that's too bad. Right? So that's also something you have to keep in mind. There is an actual chain of things being produced, and they are not just imaginarily used, they are actually being used. So the level of realism, I think you can already tell, is definitely there. Even in this early access version where by far not everything is implemented, but the core gameplay loop, as I like to call it, is definitely there. Okay, let's proceed, maybe not as quickly as we have been. So for example, we can kind of see here, so people are collecting berries, right? With a modest yield. This is all new to me. Normal efficiency, I would say. You can later also build an expansion here, a herb garden, but this requires planks, as so many things in this game. But you can then, for example, see here in the granary, if we look into this is the wheat bread that we brought. That's kind of what we started with. And these are the berries that we have collected. So they will spoil after a while. I don't know, spoilage high. I don't know what high exactly indicates, if it's 1 season or a few days. Who knows? Oh, there's another thing. You do not control when you progress into the next season. This will happen inevitably. Right? So this is one big difference, of course, to Medieval Dynasty. But yeah, it is an overview, of course, what happens. So we're already in the middle of May, and June obviously is going to mark the beginning of summer. All right. Now let's open the build menu again. We currently have absolutely nothing available. I think the first plank is being produced here. Yes. We have 5 planks. Amazing. And there is no timber. Which brings me to my next question. Where's actually the second ox that I have ordered before? Where are any of my ox, in fact? I don't see them anywhere. I have not really set up anything else to... Although here's our old Fritz. Where's the other one? We have 2. And they are where? Now we have assigned Franz exclusively to the logging camp. So we should be able to see the other orcs. Franz is here. What? Inside, going somewhere. And where is that? Why is he walking away? Should I be worried? Oh, he turned. He is going to cross through the forest. Okay, that's fine. We can deal with that. Anyways, it's time to get or keep building. Right now, all the logs that we have produced have been turned into planks. That's great. Please stop doing that. How can we do that? I just want to pause this. Let's pause it for now. That we actually get fresh timber so we can keep building. But I guess what we can do so that they can actually get started, we can choose here. Let's start out with a vegetable garden, picking up 2 planks. And you can kind of already see the bigger the backyard is, logically thinking, the bigger the yield of vegetables will be because you have more space to actually grow stuff. I dare say this is not super effective. They could have totally expanded this field to this area here, but I guess maybe this is too close to the house. I'm not sure. Now this is being built. Here someone is actually carrying over the planks so they can get started. I don't know why they're disappearing inside the house, but whatever. And the expansion is constructed. What else are you getting? Those were 2 planks. What else are you waiting for, my man? Ulrich. Ulrich von... What was the guy's name in A Knight's Tale? Ulrich from... legendary movie. Heath Ledger in one of his best roles, I dare say. In my opinion, anyway. Another set of planks? Don't we only need 2? That's 2 planks. Seriously? Come on, just finish it. Thank you. She is finishing it. Kungund. Done. And I think someone will start sowing vegetables now. Now, it would be, of course, a little bit too much to also have, I don't know, someone getting vegetable seeds and stuff like that as you have it in Medieval Dynasty. That would be a level of micromanaging that probably would exceed what most people would want to do. But I don't know, this would you could see this being a mod in the future, for example. Shout out to the modding team that is already working on mods for Manor Lords. There's already a bunch out there that exist. I am not using any as of right now. It has to do with the fact that I'm using the beta version, and it is not recommended to use mods with the beta version. And also the game is regularly updated. Let's say at least once a month, I would say. And in this... Wait, this is really a weird burgage plot. This is actually not what I wanted. Oh well. Does it mean I can squeeze in another one? Don't care. I guess not. So this counts as 1 burgage plot? What? Interesting. Alright. That's fine. This will be another one. And then all we have to do is wait for some more timber. Now that our second ox is here. Yes, he's here. Oh, that's Franz again. Here's Zeitz. Yes. I don't know why this guy is just standing. He should be pulling a log from somewhere. Well, he will be soon, I'm sure. Yeah, and of course, when you start out with a vegetable garden, it is not just going to randomly produce vegetables. It literally has its own seasonal growth. In the beginning, it will not produce that many vegetables, but it will eventually peak. I think after 4 years, 5 years. That's when it will start producing the most vegetables possible. This is different for everything. I'm not that familiar with all the numbers. So for example, if you have a chicken coop, I think they will start producing eggs rather quickly and possibly also peak more quickly. But I'm not 100% on that. So, okay, they are starting. I do believe that we have only one timber. Why? What are you people doing? People. Right, so if you're curious, where are my people? What are they actually doing? Here he comes, pulling the second timber that we have currently. Which means we can plan the final burgage plot to house all of our current settlers, at least. Set it up this way. Yeah, this will be a nice large, I mean, as you can kind of see here, there is some wasted space here, kind of between this little potential outhouse and the main building. This is kind of all about how you are setting up these burgage plots. And there are efficient ways to do it. Maybe for a future episode, I can be bothered to remember how to. I kind of forgot. You can utilize other buildings. There is, I think, the corpse pit. That's one common way. It has a certain size. And if you put 2 next to each other, or 3, I think it was, then you can pretty much get the ideal size for a burgage plot for a vegetable garden. Just if you want to be really efficient about everything, you know, some people play like this. Other people just play kind of like I do right now, just casually, without putting too much emphasis on the efficiency. But you can do all these things and they do make sense and they have a purpose. So that's nice, I think. Where's our second log? I'm waiting. I'm not gonna start building unless I have another burgage plot, honestly. Not happening. Please. Give me another timber. Just one more. There you go. Done. Okay. So we're good. Of course, we will need more houses in the future. We now need to think about attracting more families so that we can also have more workplaces that are actually used. We are going to see in a minute, once the last burgage plot has been completed, that these tents will disappear. We're going to wait for that. Meanwhile, however, there is one more important thing that I haven't really talked about yet. So, marketplace. A marketplace is not, as I would have assumed in the beginning, and maybe you are too, is not a place where you can trade with outside sources. That's not what it is for. The marketplace in this game is specifically to have the goods that you are producing or trading in whatever, any goods that are stored in your in your granary or in your storage house. They will be, so to speak, on display in your marketplace. right? Yeah, as as it is explained here, the granary and the storehouse are the main sources to put the resources into the marketplace here, where people can then pick them up from, or buy them, trade them, whatever they do. And this is very important for people for their convenience. They do not want to walk into the granary every time. They do not want to go into the storehouse for every single resource. They want to have a central marketplace that is conveniently reachable for them. So we're going to give them just that. We're going to set it up, yes, like this. Why are these shapes so weird? I don't know, but this will do for now. You can have several marketplaces if you want. They don't have to have the biggest size or anything. The only thing that matters is that there's enough space to make sure that whatever supplies are needed based on how many villages you have, that the marketplace can provide that. There is a limit for this, but we're going to look at that once it is actually built. Okay, this has been built. Now we're waiting on the last one. Let's speed up the time a bit. And we're going to set up a vegetable garden here right away. Amazing. So now we have increased our village size. What does it mean? First of all, we are now big enough because everyone has a house to live in. Now we can form a militia because we need to defend our village. Strong militia is paramount to the survival of any settlement. Luckily, a shipment of weapons has just arrived, and you will now be able to create your first militia banners to serve you and protect your people. However, we will need more weapons to equip all the people as the settlement grows, either by making them or importing them from other lands. Right. We're going to see how that works. Okay, this is done, so we can set up the vegetable garden right away. And I think this one here, this weird one, it screams for a chicken coop. This is going to cost money. Yeah, that's fine. And I believe these are... Oh no, we still have 4 planks left. Amazing. Now, in terms of level of detail and realism, I do believe, I remember this from... I don't know how I remember this, but I remember it anyway. You can kind of see here in the overlay, smell. This is work in progress. So, if you have here a hitching post with an ox, they smell. I don't know if you've ever smelled a cow shed or specifically oxes. They do smell. There will also be lots of flies around in the summer, and these things have an effect. So you should be, at some point in the future, be careful where you are placing these hitching posts, because people living right next to it will not be very happy about this, for example. Right? So this is the level of realism that we are dealing with here. Amazing, I think. And yeah, then again, if we go into this visiting mode here, wherever you are kind of with your cursor, if you activate it, that's where you start walking. And then you can just take a little gander and look at your creation so far. Right, and the people will be in awe that their ruler is actually walking among them like a mere mortal. You can, I believe, you can also enter. You can walk wherever you want. Look at everything. There should be an exit somewhere here. Is there not? Jump? Not jump. It's the outhouse. Am I just stuck in here? I think I'm stuck. But yeah. Anyway, you can do that. You can enjoy the view. The absolutely breathtaking graphics. I would say this is, by the way, this is Unreal Engine 5. This is pretty nice. I would not mind if Medieval Dynasty looked like this. But that's not going to happen. At least not in the near future. Okay. I'm now thinking myself, we can see here the first market stand has been established. What do they have here? Is it food? It is probably food, except we don't have any. Sad. But I'm sure this will be filled with food soon. Right, so let's take a look here. We currently literally are surviving just based off berries. Not a solid deal for the future. We do not have a lot of firewood left. We can also see this here. There are only 2 months of firewood left in the village currently, which is kind of okay in summer. In winter, this would be a huge problem, because again, and also similar to Medieval Dynasty, people that have no firewood will be very unhappy because they are freezing, and they might end up either dying or leaving the village. That's what would happen in that instance. That means we have to invest again into a woodcutter's lodge, which we are going to place maybe here. I'm gonna squeeze that in. Or maybe here. Makes more sense here. Further, but it's fine. We're just gonna connect it like this. Get rid of nature. And we will be building this rather quickly. And then we can think, well, what else do we need? First of all, here we can set up our militia. What do we have? We have spears. So therefore, a spear militia is what we are going to set up, because these are the weapons that we have. They will have a shield. And if later on you decided you want to make your own weapons, that will mean that we can form, for example, a crossbow unit, whatever. But if you don't have the weapons, you cannot create the unit. Hope that makes sense. So now we have our militia, and I guess we only have 10. 10 grown men that are eligible to be in a militia will come, probably not during the night, but during the day, and pick up the weapons and take them home so that they are ready in case I'm calling for the militia to be formed. Yeah. I think that's the best way to put it. Okay, so that has been taken care of. The game is kind of set up, and I believe that is still the case. The game is kind of set up that once you progress to a certain point, and I don't remember what point that was. I think when you unlock the manor, probably. So kind of our home, because right now we are homeless, in fact. But once you can build a manor, or have built a manor, then you are ready to face your first challenge. So there will be a scripted bandit attack that will test your militia. You can definitely win that fight with your militia that you have. You don't have to worry about hiring extra soldiers or anything. But it is definitely a serious fight. And if you were to lose your fight against whatever army or bandits, whatever, they will then march into your village and burn it down, at least in part. And they will take your stuff and they will not care. So a very serious situation, and that's why we have to be ready, and the resources have been stolen by nearby bandits. Rude. And I know who these guys were. It's these guys over here. For sure. Look at them. Mocking us. And mocking each other. They're always ready to fight. I don't know how many there are, but it's probably kind of the same amount of people that we have in our militia. Or even more. Where do I live again? Over here. Right. And there's only 10 people eligible. We need more people. Right. I think. Let's make sure that this area here with stone is properly wrapped by road. And then I think here towards the water, this is a little steep. Maybe it's not such a good idea. Let's say we can kind of follow the curve here, and then over here we can just continue building burgage plots. Soon. Now, nobody's actually here. We have to make sure that a family is actually manning this, so that people will be producing firewood, because we will soon be running out. These were kind of the initial resources that we've brought, and they are soon used up, and so we need to produce our own. Yeah, berries, fresh berries, come and get your berries, and everyone's like, ugh, can't see the berries anymore. But that is all we have for now. However, we can also fish. Let me see. This is probably, is it farming? Is it? No, it's not. Is it gathering? Fisherman's hut. Steep to build. Right. This is... How do I turn this? This is not too steep. How are they actually going to get the fish, though? This is fine. Should definitely build this, even though we don't have a family to actually work as fishermen. I'm gonna make a road that spreads out like this. Overlaps a bit here. That's not very pretty, but it's fine for now. And then we should 100% see about building more houses. Have the resources. Say one go squeeze into this plot here. Not pretty, but it works. And then another bigger plot will be right here. That many. Bit funky, but you know what? I don't care. So, now that we have solved the housing problem, and even though it's not great, but we have some market food available. I'm not sure what the amenities are that they're speaking of here, but luckily our approval rating is high enough so that we can actually bring in new families into the settlement. We're going to see that once these houses have been built, new families will eventually join. This is sort of random. The higher your approval rating, the quicker this is going to happen. And yeah, if anything happens that is just bad for your village, your approval rating will suffer. And it will be more difficult to attract new villager. Now, I believe there's a reason why this is blinking. Specializing regions, right. I think there is only a basic choice right now. We can click on this. And then we can choose different kind of perks, is what I would call them, I guess. Let's see. Bamberg smallholders, driven from Bamberg by the bishop's heavy tithe. We learn to keep our hearths warm and our tables full by our own hands. We waste nothing, tend every plot with care, and set down roots where we can live by our own labor, not by the bishop's mercy. So we have an increased approval from food variety if we choose this. We have an increased success chance for tree planting. And what else do we have? This is a hunting perk. We have a building perk specifically. We have a trading perk, I believe. This is probably blacksmithing. Yep. Sheep herding. Stonemason. Makes sense. Armor forging. And farming in general. Alright. What are we gonna go with? Iron ore import value minus 30%. Import value. AKA it's cheaper to import them. I'm not sure if this is a good... I have no idea. Let's just unlock this. Why not? Yeah, these are all locked currently because early access. Is there anything else? What do we have here? We have mainly meadows. 46% is actual forest or woodland. Some farmland. Actually, it says 0%, but I think that's just because we haven't set up any fields. And 2% rural. And urban. Urban. Pollination and wilding. Aha. Didn't understand anything, but very nice. I like the graphics a lot. Okay, now that we are producing firewood again, we have fuel for another 6 months. Meaning that we can actually maybe make it to the end of the winter. Into the next season. But it is not guaranteed. Right. Fisherman's hut has almost been built, but we kind of need to wait for the burgage plots here to be constructed first. Because they are the ones that actually have to inhabit a family first before we can start fishing and then broaden our food variety, so to speak. And the sun comes up once again in the village of Billweisholz, in case you're wondering. Now, you can change the name to whatever you want. YouTube Will or whatever. That's fine. Yeah. And you can hear the birds. I hope you can hear the birds. This is nice. The next step, crucially, I would say, is going to be a church. Right? I mean, the way the game is set up, we are clearly in a European medieval environment. Therefore, it makes sense that there would be a church, not a mosque or anything. And for that, we have the stone for it. What we do not have is the planks. Right, but this is an easy fix. All we need to do is to unpause this. And we have gained a new family. Excellent. Here they are. And once this is also done, we can start fishing. Very nice. Oh, wait, this plot is currently unused, and so is this. That's good to know. The vegetables are probably growing. Oh, the outhouse is just on the... Ugh. I mean, I'm sure the land will be very fertile here. But that's a bit... I don't know. Not pretty. Another burgage plot has been constructed. And the third one is worked on. And I think soon there should be a new family living here as well. So yeah, you have to kind of always manage, have your village growing, ensure that you have houses built. And only then you can have a free family that will be dedicated to actually building anything. I could kind of showcase this if I set up here a family in the fisherman's hut. That means they will immediately drop everything they're doing and start fishing. But then there's no one here to actually build this house. Now, we can of course wait for someone to move into this lovely little home here. That should happen quite soon, and then they will continue building. But that is currently not the case. I think it's fine, we can just wait. Yeah, you will then receive a warning from the game. Oh, you don't have any unassigned families. No one can actually do the construction work. The generic storage is full. Oh, from the woodcutter lodge. Ah, I think that kind of is an indicator that we have no one actually in the storehouse. Yeah. So no one would be going from the storehouse to the woodcutter's lodge to actually pick up the firewood. Because they don't care here. They're just, they're just gathering the firewood. What happens with it, it's not their job. Okay, now we have a new family. We can continue building. Everything is fine. Now we are producing some fish. Carp. They will spoil quickly, but I guess if you salt them... Oh, salt. Right. Our most precious commodity in this area. Yeah, eventually we're going to have to build a salt mine. And then see what we can do with that. I mean, I'm sure we can salt our meat. But we can also probably sell the salt. What a mix of words. But yeah. I think I'm going to enjoy this camera view specifically. This is really nice. I like this one. Exposed stocks are getting soaked in the woodcutter's lodge. I mean, it's wood. Does it really matter? It's not meant to be used for firewood anyway, so I'm not sure how that's relevant. But I'll just believe the game. And I'm amazed how quickly 30 minutes can pass. I hope you feel the same way. I hope this is not too much of a drag. So yeah, I think this is a good moment to conclude episode 2. In episode 3, we are going to see about building a church that people can take care of their spiritual needs. And yeah, abandoned camp was sighted. Lovely. Our militia is it growing? Yeah, it's kind of growing. The maximum size for now will be 20, I believe, because we only have 20 weapons available. But that should be sufficient to defend ourselves, at least against one single enemy. All right. Let me pause the game right here and then save it. And I hope to see all of you in episode 3. Until then, thanks for watching and have a lovely day.